Welcome to Twisted States. I'm your host, Reagan, and we're here to take a look, week by week, state by state, at some of America's most notorious killers, elusive cryptids, and bizarre mysteries. This week, we're headed off to Wyoming. We're going to take a look at the Hanna mine disasters. And this was, considering, like I said, that there's not much that goes on in Wyoming, this was pretty devastating. This was a pretty big deal and really a shame. So basically, in 1889, the Union Pacific Railroad was looking for a good, reliable source of coal. There were mines originally in Carbon, Wyoming that ran out. And so in a scramble to try to get fuel for their trains, because the railroad was a really big deal back then, they quickly opened a mine at Chimney Springs. And then they renamed Chimney Springs in honor of Marcus A. Hanna. He was a member of the Union Pacific Company, management team, and an Ohio U.S. Senator. So, like I said, the Union Pacific Coal Company founded Hanna, Wyoming. They set that town up for the workers and their families. And Union Pacific basically the whole place was theirs. They owned everything, the stores, all the buildings, everything, even the boarding house, the places that all of the mine workers were paying their rent to the Union Pacific Coal Company. So they owned it all. They owned the whole town. So it was just a working town. It was strictly a mining town. It was a big hub, for the emerging transportation industry, because like I said, the railroad was really taking off at the time. And there was, with the Union Pacific Railroad being, booming along as well as it was, and the Overland Trail passing through the area, it definitely had quite, it was going, you know what I'm saying? It was really going. So, back then, of course, they did things the old-fashioned way, which also became a bone of contention currently. I follow Ghost Town Living on YouTube, and Brent is very fascinating. Cerro Gordo is an interesting little town for me, overlooking Death Valley and being a mining town or whatever. But a lot of the laws and stuff that they have in place as far as staking a claim or whatever, mining claims, are still set from this time, in the 1800s, during the gold rush era, and during, along with this, with the coal mining and silver mining and stuff, And because things were set up the way they were then, now these big corporations are coming in from other countries and open pit mining large portions, of the U.S. and ruining all the natural resources and, and stripping the land and then heating themselves out of the situation as fast as they can, leaving these huge environmental impacts and stuff on our land. I'm not going to go down that road. We all know that conversation, but it's still, they're coming here from other countries and destroying the natural land here. And that really sucks. So, because those laws are so outdated. Anyway, sorry for that little side note, and there's a lot more, and that could be a really big conversation. If you want to talk more about that, hit me up over on Instagram, Twisted States, and we can get into it. I've also got a Facebook page and stuff. But back to the story at hand. So, being that coal was mined by dynamite, and a bunch of men covered in soot and black dust loading donkey drawn carts in and out of these mines. Things are pretty volatile. I mean, coal, it's a fuel source, like, hello. And they're mining in an area that's full of coal and natural things that are, not safe. So the first disaster at the Union Pacific Coal Company Hanna Mine number 1 occurred on June 30th of 1903. Methane was ignited in mine number 1, causing a violent explosion and a mine cave-in, killing 169 miners, while 46 survivors narrowly escaped their doom. Many bodies recovered over the next year were buried in the nearby Hanna Cemetery. This was the greatest loss of life in any Wyoming mining disaster. The mine's boss, like all the head foreman, blamed the accident on a careless miner, and it was just like, well, somebody just wasn't paying attention and did a thing, and oh, it's terrible, but they just like blamed it on human error and just kind of swept it under the rug. And then there was a coal strike in Colorado. So there was no, like, with the mine closed, there was no alternative way for them to get coal. So, of course, a few months later, after losing all of these lives, they opened the mine back up. So that first disaster happened in 1903, and it took them 5 years before, guess what? It happened again. On March 28th, 1908, the Hanna Mine number 1 exploded again, trapping 18 miners. As a state mine inspector and 40 rescuers entered the mine, a second explosion occurred, killing all 59 people inside. They were only able to recover 27 of the bodies from the second incident. Another 32 had to be left in the mountain. So with the people that perished in the 1903 blast and the ones from the blast that happened in 1908, 201 men are still buried in that mine today. After the 1908 blast, the Wyoming State Inspector blamed Union Pacific Coal Company's method of mining for the disaster. It was called gouging, a system in which coal is mined immediately after the mine is opened because it yields coal more quickly at the start of the operation. Gouging allows methane gas to gather in rooms already mined while miners are digging for coal deeper in the mountain. Had Union Pacific dug deep into the mountain first and mined the coal on their way back toward the surface, they would have been able to flood mined rooms with water, preventing the buildup of methane and saving a lot of lives. The 1908 double explosions left 31 widows and orphaned 103 children. In settlements with Union Pacific Coal Company, each widow who lived in Hanna got $800 plus $50 for each child. Widows who returned to their homelands abroad got $350. The settlement barred any future claims against the company. In the 5-year period between 03 and 08, 228 people died in the 2 disasters in Mine 1 before the creation of safety teams, safety laws, or even the implementation of safety inspections. Just weeks before each blast, company mine inspectors gave mine number 1 glowing safety reviews. After 1908, the Union Pacific Coal Company permanently closed Mine 1 and then opened new mines in the Hanna area and hired new miners. In 1954, all of the mines in the Hanna area closed due to a switch to diesel locomotives. And now there's just green grass covering the hill that was once the entrance to mine number 1. A memorial to the miners killed in Hanna and Carbon County is located at Hanna Junction, northeast of Highway US 30, in an off-road site that's really hard to get to. Anyway, there you have it. There's the story of the Hanna mines. And I implore you to go check the links in the description of this episode, because there are lists of lives that were lost and more information about who these people were, what their day-to-day lives were, who their families were, and all that stuff. And I think they really deserve to be remembered, as do the rest of these people that perished in these horrific coal mine incidents. It's such a shame. Wyoming is not the only state that's full of those kind of stories. The coal industry used to really, not to say it's any better now, but it was bad. It was real bad. It was like just off the charts. So, yeah. Anyway, there you have it. I'm going to go. Thank you for listening. Thank you for joining me. I will see you for the next episode, which I'm going to record in just a couple hours. And my dog just made a weird noise. What dog I picked up? Anyway, but I'm going to get going. Thank you once again for stopping by. This has been Twisted States Podcast. I'm your host, Reagan, and I will talk to you soon. Check me out on Instagram at Twisted States. And see ya.